Welcome to the Summit Minerals Investor Webinar. I'm Chloe Hayes, the Investor and Media Relations Manager, and today I'm joined by CEO Gawa He, who will talk through the investor presentation and engage in Q&A. And to everyone, to ask a question throughout today's presentation, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Now, Gawa, I'll hand over to you.
Thanks, Chloe. Thank you everyone for tuning in. My name is Gawa. I recently joined as CEO of Summit roughly 4 weeks ago, and today I'd like to walk through the presentation for our latest developments for our company. The usual disclaimer for your viewing pleasure, and our investment highlights within Summit. So we have got a multiple number of battery mineral related projects, and I inherited a program that we want to reprioritize in terms of where the company focuses its capital. And prior to my joining, I guess, company is fortunate enough to get into the Castor Lithium project in the very populated James Bay area. We also have the Phillips River Lithium program, which we are excited to start soon. We've done a lot of work in terms of the rare earth project in Stallion, and also in central Morocco, we have the antimony project in Amman. Now, I think I don't need to remind everyone in terms of where the shortages are in terms of the lithium supply chain and the EV batteries, etc., which is a very more sort of government-driven demand due to decarbonisation and globalisation. And so we're very excited to be part of the value chain. Myself, I've been in Mitsui for about 16 years, which is a Japanese commodity trading house, I guess. I've been fortunate enough to gain experience in the mining, M&A, and really trading space within iron ore, lithium, copper, cobalt, and a host of others. So very excited to join the team and able to utilize what I've gained in those years to try and help Summit into achieving strategic goals. Summit in a snapshot. We're listed over 12 months ago. Tight share structure, limited shares on issue. We've got roughly last quarter, we've got about 2.5 in the bank. So EV is quite low, and for the upside potentials in terms of array of projects we've got on development, we present a great opportunity for interested investors. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I guess the EV global race is on. Pretty much Chinese dominated in the past. However, Western countries have now sort of gone on to the train. And this is very different to your typical sort of commodity cycle, supply and demand. This is more a government-driven mandate, which means that demand for it will not go away, and that it's up to everybody in the value chain to make sure that there's enough supply to meet those demands that's in China, Europe, Asia, as well as now North America, and Australia as well. So very excited to be part of this. All this when we call it the EV battery group, so it's EVs and ESS. So battery storage has become a very big story as well, especially for storing wind and solar powers, which in Australia is very prominent. In that grouping, I guess you can see that lithium is head of the race, copper, rare earths, nickel, and cobalt. I think in terms of what the chemistry is for an NCM, NCA, or even LFP, you'll know that the lithium percentage in all those are actually very consistent, around 7% mark. The higher being in the LFP region, which is around the 11% mark. In every sort of EV, the copper demand compared to an ICE, which is your income combustion engines, is about 3 times. So it scales up from about 25 kilograms of copper to about 60, depending on the size, but that's the range. Rare earths, of course, very important for the magnets in the motors of these EVs. And of course, nickel in the NCMs increases the range, where the cobalt is your actual stabilizer. So all of these are very sort of in high demand, I think, regardless of what you see in the current cycle. But we believe firmly that these should be core for any portfolio out there. In terms of our James Bay project, our Castor Lithium project was acquired in June. Our team was fortunate enough to get a good team on the ground, the CDC guys, to start the prospecting program. We've done the LiDAR program, which identified over 230, now probably more, some hidden outcrops of pegmatite that Spectral GeoCloud did with the multispectral imagery. So the ground program itself took just over a month to finalize, I guess. But you know, you appreciate that due to the wildfires over there and the short window in terms of what is available for summer. You know, it's a very rushed program, and kudos to Jonathan and the team for getting the program out there and having it finalized. Now, this is the geology map, I guess. I mean, for those interested, this is very early on, but you know, you can see that there are a lot of outcrops that mandates investigation, and we've investigated a lot of these, and very excited to move ahead with it. So it's in the right region. I guess from the map you can see that our neighbors being, you know, the WR1 guys to our east, and also on the same greenstone belt you've got pretty much the Mia guys, Mia Lithium, as well as the Ophir guys. Now they've already come up with some good rock chip samples ranging from 2.3 to 4.3% in lithium oxide, and their market cap in Canadian dollar terms is around 19 million for Ophir, and about 64 for Mia. So as a comparison, I think you can see where the value is in terms of how much sort of room we have for growth in terms of where our company is at the moment. Famous neighbors, other famous neighbors being Allcam, Nemaska, of course, the OG that's been around for a long time, as well as Patriot Battery Metals. Now, as I alluded to earlier, you know, the North American lithium supply chain is really heating up, and they're catching up in terms of development from their Asian neighbors that's been doing this for the last 10 years. So a lot of new gigafactories, OEMs, chemical converters are all being plotted along the line to give the world a diversified type of supply chain. And as these come on board, you know, you can see that the real shortage here becomes raw material, and how to sort of get that in the right timing for these guys to be able to come into production. One other thing that I'd like to mention more, about the Castle project is that we've, per the recent update, we've just finalized the LiDAR program. We've finalized the field reconnaissance program. We've picked up almost over 150 samples. We've identified pegmatite outcrops or hidden ones that we previously couldn't see. And so the assay labs are bogged at the moment, as you can appreciate, due to the wildfires and the amount of exploration that's happening in there. So hopefully, we're hopeful by sort of by the end of the year, we should get some sort of more assay results, as well as where we need to look at in terms of extra areas to explore or design the next phase of our program. Now, moving onto the Phillips River Lithium project, as you can see, this is like quite close to what Bulletin guys have done, and they've found some pretty interesting rock chip samples, and they're only 2.5 kilometers east of being our neighbors. The property itself has already got high resolution surveys done on it. We were just waiting on the southern part to commence the auger program to get so that is just after the harvest season, which is what we're in now. We're also interested in looking at a full soils program for the remainder of the tenement. So we're hoping to commence something within this year. If otherwise, it'll be early next year that the program comes out, and we're very excited because it's obviously in the right jurisdiction. It's got the right neighbors. Mount Catlin's just on top of us, and you know, BNR's had some really interesting recent discoveries. So we're quietly confident that this could deliver some good results, and it's often not easy to get our exploration manager Jonathan excited, and he was quite excited about this program, which we're about to embark on as well. So for those who's been around for a while, I mean, there are no strangers to our standing Stallion Rare Earths program, our project. We've already completed two phases of drilling. We've done some leaching tests, and the results have been very promising. What we are planning on next is possibly doing more met tests to determine a interim maiden result, and then decide on the next phase of drilling program, and see where we take with the project in terms of the development timeframe. Interestingly enough, this already has a historical uranium resource on it, previously held by Manhattan. So it's a very unique project in that it's got both the best of both worlds, and so the runway for this one could be quite interesting. The exceptional drilling results we encountered in phase 1, and then the infills from phase 2, and of course the future works which I've outlined earlier. In terms of a NdPr sort of percentage holding, it is actually quite in the first quartile, I dare say. And so it's an interesting project that we want to look at seriously in terms of where it fits in terms of the company's overall development timeframe as well. And finally, we have the antimony project over in Morocco, covering 6 licenses, 79 kilometers. Morocco is an interesting place. It's one of the more safer jurisdictions within the African region. Probably it's number 1 actually, and 8th best globally. And we have a very experienced set of teams on the ground. It's come back with some very interesting sediment geochemistry outlines, outcrops, etc. Antimony is an interesting type of commodity element, I guess. So we need to look at where this fits overall as well. And interestingly, it's also got some copper anomalies that we want to prioritize and have a look at as well. This is the location of our tenements within the region. You can see all year-round access. It's a good coastal city, so port access is an issue. It's about finding the right sort of inputs in terms of what the geology looks like and what the development timeframe we want for it to be and how it fits within our strategy. Some photos in terms of the project itself. Of course, finally, just want to outline in terms of the broad experience of the board. A lot of times, you have to back a project, but I think backing the right people to bring you that project and changing your company is very important. So, you have our chair Peretz and Bish, who are very experienced entrepreneurs. You have great geos in Stephen Ross and Jonathan King, and then there's myself to bring that commercial lithium battery value chain experience in there. So hopefully, our team can deliver the results that everyone's expecting. We all worked well together, and that's a very important part of making a company run. So that's it. Thank you very much. I'll open the floor for questions.
Thanks, Gower. Yeah, we've had a few questions come through. The first one being, can you tell us what drew you to join Summit Minerals?
Of course. Thanks, Chloe. So great question. I guess with my training and experience the last 20 years in the mining space, I've always been trying to find the right opportunities to help create the value. And this includes having the right board and the right company in place, so that you get that good tight structure that you'll run with at the same time and understanding with each other. And when I came across Summit, and really grilled the members in terms of where they want to take the company and what their aspirations were, etc., it ticked all the right boxes for me, and I just jumped on the opportunity.
Right. And when can we expect to receive rock chip sample results from Castor? And will they come through in batches as they are received?
Yeah, as we discussed earlier, I guess, because of the wildfires and just in general how busy the region was. I mean, the wildfires didn't affect just the Quebec side. The Ontario side, pipe borders were also affected. And just because of how bad and severe it was, and it was really difficult to secure a lot of these services. And kudos to the team for being able to even get the CDC guys to complete the program on time. But there's a huge backlog, and so we're doing everything we can to try and get the results. We're in line, and there will be batches, but I think to really get the full picture, we want to interpret those together with the LiDAR's result as well, just to give it what it needs, to make sure we're not missing any parts of the project that we think it should be a focus. Hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Oh, great. Our next question is, what are the broader strategic plans for the company? So looking out 12 to 18 months, where would you like to be?
Yeah, so with the battery material markets as it is, especially in lithium, where it's very high demand in the foreseeable future. But of course, the more established commodities always going through the usual cycles. We want to prioritize existing and sort of any new acquisitions to fill out our strategic window for the next 12, 24, and 36 months, really. We will be assessing it based on the demand and supply pricing cycles, locations of projects, geopolitics factors. So all those will come into sort of the formula when we determine which commodity and which to prioritize development. So I don't want to give too much away, but we've got plans in place for up to the next 36 months, really, in terms of how to bring that company from a junior exploration to get to brownfields and potentially have our maiden resource out. That's our goal at the moment.
Right. And our next question is, when do you expect to commence the maiden drill campaign at Castor?
Yeah. So obviously it depends on multitude of factors. The assays and the LiDAR results, cross analysis will be a major part of those. After that, I guess we will look at any additional programs we need for the field expedition, and also we need to engage First Nations, apply for drill permits, etc. And also the winter season. So these will all go into the overall time frame in terms of what we consider in terms of the time frame of the drill program. But it's very exciting times, I think. But we don't want to be too overexcited by missing out things that and cutting things short. So we want to do the project justice and make sure the shareholders are looked after by making sure we give the project that its deserved attention. So we want to make sure that everything's ticked right before we start the drilling program. So it could be next 12 months, but we'll have to see what the results come back with, and also then what the time window, the weather, and all the other factors will allow us to do.
Of course. Up next is, do you have any plans to further increase land holding in James Bay through the acquisition of additional projects?
Yeah, of course. So James Bay is a very exciting and busy area, and so if we had opportunities to increase the holdings to complement the existing projects or new interesting projects, of course we would. But I think we're not purely limited to just James Bay. We want to consider projects across the board. Even in Canada, you've got Quebec, and then you've got Ontario, and then you've got up and comings more to the eastern neighbors. And then there are other parts of the world that has got hard rock spodumene assets that will fit sort of our strategy. So it really depends on the project, and how it fits within our long-term goal, and where we can provide value to unlock it for our shareholders.
Right.
Thank you.
And with high demand forecasts, government support, and low stock of these critical minerals, where do you see rare earth prices going in the future?
Oh, rare earth is a very very interesting space, I guess. I mean, I can't give price estimates, I guess, in that regard, because because I think, if you look at where it's being sort of controlled in a way, because China holds maybe 80%, 90% of the supply chain, and really in Australia, Linus has only been the real success out there in the last 50 years. So I think it will be in shortage. I think it's a strategic mineral, if anything. But again, the supply is there depending on the geopolitics. So all those things, come into play when you're looking at the rare earth cycle itself, I guess. So look, I think the price will go up. My personal thinking, not official summit, but the timing of when, it really depends on how each of the governments play together, I guess. I mean, if you look at the sort of EV policies that's come out from in the global sense, China had 2025, parts of Europe had 2030, and India had 2030, 35. But as you can see now, even all these countries are now delaying all that by 5 years. And then even with the introduction of the IRA and other incentivized programs from Europe, and it's not easy to put a number on it, because even they recognize that the shortage in that raw material space would be detrimental for the factor. So all I can say is, look, the long-term demand is there. How that's applied is controlled, and that's going to be the deciding factor.
Right, well, thanks, Gower. That looks like we've answered all the questions. I'd like to thank the audience for the questions and Gower for joining us today. Should we have missed anything, please feel free to reach out via the contact details on the bottom of our ASX releases, and we look forward to hosting you again soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Chloe. Thank you.